I've got to say, I just found that repulsive. I'm asking you to condemn what happened.
No, I won't. No, I won't.
You can't do that, you see. So why the hell?
Separating 5,000 children deliberately from their parents.
You mean the Obama administration?
It's of glass from the teleprompter itself, not the bullet. So there are a lot of questions around that ear.
He should have died. He's not good for this country, and he never will be.
I thought it was magnificently staged.
Since he missed, I can guarantee you there's going to be 100 people that are going to try to not miss.
Welcome back to Rattlesnake TV, guys. In this video, we are going to be going through some of the most heinous leftist reactions to the Donald Trump shooting, solidifying exactly who is on the wrong side of history with this one. And there are some truly ridiculous ones that are beneath human dignity in this video. And toward the end, we will see just how bad it gets. So strap yourselves in and let's get started with some highlights of Piers Morgan, of all people, absolutely wiping the floor with liberal streamer Destiny.
I don't think anybody should be killed. I don't think anybody should go out and kill anybody. But when you engage in this type of rhetoric and when you turn the temperature up over and over and over and over again, there is absolutely no room for you to be shocked or surprised. And there certainly isn't room for you to ask for sympathy.
But Destiny, you say you don't want anybody killed, and yet you say, I don't think I have much sympathy about the attempt to chastise people celebrating it. People celebrating the near assassination of Donald Trump. If you can't find it in you to chastise people who do that, aren't you just as despicable as the people you've just spent the last 2 minutes haranguing?
No, because they've led the way. This is the environment that they've created.
So you think behaving like the people you think are despicable is the correct course of action?
Not about behaving like the people who are despicable would be leading that type of rhetoric. It would be denying every single bad thing. How many times as a liberal? How many times as a liberal have you been on a show? Not you in general, but like a liberal been on a show and you've been forced to disavow all of the BLM riots, disavow all of the violence, and blah blah blah. And then you talk to conservatives about it. January 6th,
violence.
that was
That's
a false
good.
flag.
Yeah.
January 6th. Oh, like conservatives disavow January 6th?
Wait. First off, there's an entire cultural machine that has lied. There is an entire
we just saw it in real time. That's it.
What?
That's why conservatives deserve absolutely zero sympathy for anything that happens as a result of their rhetoric. That's it. It's so easy. Like, it's so simple.
Okay, but
I'm not exactly sure what he's talking about, but I would say this is the type of person that the internet has broke their brain, thus leaving them with very little empathy for their co-human. I mean, a good, decent father is now dead because of this. He's had his brains blown out because he was defending his wife and daughter. I would hope that you have a little empathy for that.
Let me jump in there because we have a clip of what Destiny has said about that very thing. Let's listen to this.
Fuck it. Fuck the dude, the firefighter guy. Fuck Trump. Fuck the people that support him. I just want you to know, okay, just in case you're confused or it seems like I'm, whatever. If one of you were in the crowd and you're a conservative fan of mine and you end up, getting blown away or whatever the fuck, I'm making fun of you the next day on Twitter. I am, 100%.
I mean, I've got to say, I just found that repulsive, Destiny. Yeah,
I wish that there's no room. There is no room for the hand-wringing, and I will not participate in this anymore.
Oh, it's not hand-wringing.
In the hand-wringing. No, it absolutely is.
No, it's just that you are positioning yourself.
So well.
No, but Destiny, let me explain to you.
Where conservatives can say anything.
No, I'm not a conservative.
They can have any conspiracy theory.
I'm not a conservative.
They can have any plot. They can do any of these things, and then liberals are supposed to sit here and be like, oh my God, it's so tragic.
No, Destiny.
Absolutely not.
So before we continue with this one, just to give a bit of context as to what I think is going on here, this is an example of when the culture war and politics actually starts to form a parasitic relationship with one's brain. And just like me, you guys probably follow politics, you find it very interesting, but there reaches a certain tipping point where people get sucked into this black hole, where they're past the point of being able to take a day off, touch some grass, and realize, hey, amongst all of this chaos, it's important that I keep my humanity. But the thing is though, when it comes to doing this for a living, I know good and well that the main aim of the game is to stay relevant and to stay trending on Twitter and have people talking about you. And the easiest and fastest way to keep yourself relevant and trending is, unfortunately, controversy. And so they go onto Twitter, they start a beef with somebody, they'll be back and forth with each other, getting a lot of engagement, and they'll be saying some outrageous things and shocking and triggering people. And then when it all gets too much, they can just turn around and say, oh, I was just trolling. And that's precisely what people who are in the know thought Destiny was doing here. But then he just keeps on doubling down. And this led to the moment that we're seeing right in front of us, where even he knows that what he's saying is completely messed up and wrong. But he chooses to say it anyway because he's too far into the black hole and he can't get out. And now let's watch the moment where the last remaining vestiges of integrity and decency actually leave Destiny's body. But before then, guys, don't forget to smash the like button on this one if you enjoy the video, of course, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's do it.
You'd like to fire off, as you've done so far in this debate, about your fury at how disgusting Republicans are, how inhumane they are, how they never have any empathy, blah, 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 blah. And then you yourself actually are exactly the person that you're describing. You are inhuman. You are somebody who seems almost gleeful that a young firefighter with a family, with a wife and children, who he was protecting as he was shot dead, that he deserved what was coming to him because he went to a President Trump rally, a man who was president of the United States until recently for 4 years and maybe again. You sound almost gleeful, Destin, and I'm sorry, that makes you, frankly, despicable.
I don't think I'm gleeful about anything. I don't think anybody should die. I don't think anybody deserves to die. But you want to talk about gleeful? Look at the conservative response to Pelosi's husband when they broke in.
I can answer that.
Mainstream media figures
I can answer that.
I don't care.
I can answer that.
With all due respect, I don't care what your answer is.
Let me answer that.
The reality is that conservatives have been turning the temperature up on the rhetoric. They have been making fun of these types of events for years, and now when something happens to them, now they're looking for sympathy from the liberal side. Absolutely not. It's insane. It's unhinged that you can conduct yourself in such a manner and expect people to feel sorry when things happen.
You, however, want to present yourself as this great kind of standard bearer of decency who sees outrageous behavior on the right time and again and is incensed by this disgusting, inhumane behavior. And yet time and again, since the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, you have displayed exactly the same kind of inhumane behavior. Him about a fireman who is killed because he attends a rally of a guy he wants to vote for.
My issue with the MAGA kids is not that they are not empathetic. My issue is that they support a president that led an insurrection against the United States. I'm not here to tone police over their empathy.
80 million people voted for Donald Trump last time around.
That's great. 80 million people voted for a guy that tried to insurrect the government, and it looks like they might try to do it again. I mean, like, I don't know what you want me to say. These are the facts on the ground. The idea that
you don't like attacks on democracy. So presumably you would unreservedly condemn the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, because that's one of the most egregious attacks on American democracy of modern times. Presumably,
I don't think that
you will
anybody
take
should
this
be
opportunity,
trying to,
given you are so
anybody...
determined to protect the integrity of democracy, you would find it absolutely outrageous that someone has tried to assassinate a president, right?
If the other conservatives on this show want to say that it was absolutely outrageous that Donald Trump attempted to coup the government,
I'm asking
then maybe I would. Yeah, no, I'm not going to get on my knees and beg for forgiveness or show sympathy to conservatives.
I'm not asking for that. I'm asking you to condemn what happened as an egregious attack on democracy. Can you do that?
No, I won't. No, I won't.
You can't do that. You see, so why the hell, frankly, Destiny,
absolutely not.
Why the hell should we listen to a word you have to say? Just to be clear, Destiny, if it was close members of your family or close friends who had gone to that Donald Trump rally and who'd lost their lives, one did and two are critically wounded, if they had died there, you would lose no sleep over that. Is that your position?
No, of course I would be sad. It would be tragic, of course. And the closer they are to you, the more sad it would be. The same way that if you had a child that, tried to rob a store and the child got killed by the police, that would also be tragic and sad.
So you wouldn't think them because they're your family then? You'd have a different rule for your own loved ones.
Would I feel more upset if a person very close to me died rather than a person farther away from me died? Yeah, I think the answer there is yes.
Yeah, but you weren't just just to be clear, you weren't just not upset by the death of that firefighter who'd given great service as a firefighter to his country. You were gleeful and you said, "F him." F him.
I'm not.
Would you say It's them if it was your family and friends.
Because he was a Trump supporter.
I would say that if they go to a rally like this and they support an insurrectionist president and something happens to them, I would feel sad on a personal level because they're my parents. But again, I learned from them more than anyone else. I grew up in Nebraska. You learn that if you mess around and if you do dumb stuff, that there are going to be consequences.
And would you think? And would you think? All right. And would you be happy to say, you know what, them? about your own
His
parents.
rhetoric is far more dangerous than I've ever heard anything that Donald Trump said. What he's saying right there.
Yeah.
He is saying you should have no empathy or sympathy for your fellow human. You know,
agree.
we can all disagree. We can disagree about politics, of course. We can even disagree about how the media frames things and everything else. But he's basically saying show up to a rally and get killed. And that is absolutely psychotic. I'm sorry. And
so obviously he's just a complete hypocrite, and Piers Morgan was able to expose him and just totally wallop him because his position is indefensible. And there really is nothing better than watching a keyboard warrior tough guy get smacked down like this. Destiny is not a tough guy. Destiny is a guy who let other men have sex with his wife. And Colin Compratore is 100 times the man that Destiny could ever wish to be. And there are no amount of Google searches or Wikipedia articles that could save him from this one. But perhaps he got exactly what he wanted, which was attention. And so that's a perfect example of how this whole world can become very toxic. When engagement and attention farming actually causes your brain to rot and causes you to actually sell your soul to stay relevant and stay trending. And so instead of Twitter beefing and attention whoring and selling my soul as a content creator, I choose to sell the most based merch in the game. Which brings me to my exciting announcement, which is the launch of the reality-based merch store. You guys may have noticed, the cat's out of the bag maybe, that my plain black t-shirt is no more. And that's because today is the day that I officially launch the reality-based merch store. I have had so many of you guys tell me over the last few years that I should do merch. And honestly, I've been putting it off. This is because I didn't want to create some crummy little store. I wanted to work hard and actually produce something that I'm proud of. And so I teamed up with a few very intelligent friends of mine. We put our heads together and have been working for a while now on the reality-based merch store. Merch that features a whole range of countercultural messages. You'll see below this video and others that the store is linked. You guys can actually browse some of the merchandise right now as you're listening. So let me take you guys through a few of my favorites, which is obviously starting with this one, the Based and Blessed design. We also have the Rattlesnake TV logo designs, which looks really cool on a shirt, as well as some classic Trump designs, which we've put together in the last few days. This one says fight, 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 with 3 of Trump's most iconic moments, the elevator, the mugshot, and then of course that iconic moment from the shooting. There's the Many Men design, which has been a really viral moment this week. And I would say my personal favorite is the Life's Tough, Get a Helmet design. We've also got hats, we've got mugs, we've got hoodies, and phone cases. So you can go to the reality-based store today and explore our entire catalog. And because of this exciting launch, for the next 48 hours only, we are offering 10% off all items if you use the code BASED10 at checkout. So you'll find that store below, the links below. You can find that link right here on this little card thing that you can do on YouTube. Head to the store, check it out, support the channel, and don't forget to use the code BASED10 for 10% off at checkout. And now on to the next part, which is along the similar lines to the last bit, where Hasan Abi, who is Cenk Uyghur's nephew, had the following to say.
As well as you saw the
He's clip farming harder than the new crop of FaZe talent. He's like FaZe Ronaldo. He's clip farming harder than Jinxie. He keeps throwing up his fucking fist.
Been at many of these Trump rallies, and here's a picture from one of our colleagues there on the ground, the photojournalists who are in the front row showing the blood on.
Now, for those of you who aren't aware exactly about what he's talking about, I am also a grandpa, so let me fill you in with a little bit of the lingo that I've learned. Over the past year, I've had to ask Vinny, who's my younger brother and producer, what some of these words mean, because he's much more hip and cool than I am. Clip farming is a popular word amongst the vernacular of content creators where somebody is opportunistic in a certain situation that they know is going to be on camera. This is to try and get themselves some sort of a viral moment. Funny story, actually. I won't name any names because of respect for their brands, but there have been podcasts that I've been on in the past where I'll be sitting there and I'll be kind of confused as to why people just start yelling at each other and why there's all this controversy. And then when the cameras turn off before and after, everyone's just cool with each other and sort of laughing about it. And I mean, I probably shouldn't be saying this and giving the game away, but it's actually really common from what I understand. There's this little unspoken agreement that people have that there's going to be all these crazy and controversial and viral moments on the podcasts, but then off camera, it's just cool. So next time you're seeing these clips floating around Twitter of these controversial moments that are happening, just know that it may well be theater. But anyways, the point that Hasan is making here, which is a deeply profound point, is that at the moment when Trump got shot in the head, his first thought was, how can I make this moment go viral? How can I make the moment that the former president of the United States gets nearly blown away on camera? How can I make that go viral? How can I get myself some internet clout and recognition amongst all the streamers? And I don't know why I didn't think of this, because obviously if Trump didn't get up and say fight, 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 then no one probably would have seen the clip. It probably just would have faded into some sort of irrelevance. But seriously, guys, it is no surprise that these streamers think this way, because that is literally how their brain works. Every single moment of their life, every single time a camera is on around them, it's another chance for attention and clout. So it actually gets to the point where they never, ever do anything authentic. And it really is manifest when they say something as absolutely absurd and patently ridiculous. The most famous and recognizable man on the face of the earth tried to use the moment where he was nearly killed on camera as a way to get attention. Once again, guys, parasite on the brain. And now on to the next clip, where Trump Jr. is confronted by a reporter at the RNC and just batters him.
What is that change going to look like, Don? What practically, your father as president, I think you would even say, was a divisive figure. What's it going to look like in the second term?
I don't think he was a divisive figure at all. I think the media created divisiveness around him. They lied about Russia collusion. They said he was a traitor. They went after him in every which way possible. If the media actually starts being an honest broker, talking about the things that he did, the prosperity he brought, the peace deals that he signed around the world, rather than the disaster that we're living right now, I think you do everyone in the country a big favor.
I know immigration's important to him. I covered the family separation crisis closely. Will we continue to see policies like separating 5,000 children deliberately from their parents?
You mean the Obama administration?
You know they didn't do that, sir.
Okay. Sure.
Will there be a second family separation policy?
It's MSDNC, so I expect nothing less from you clowns. Even today, even 48 hours later, you couldn't wait. You couldn't wait with your lies and with your nonsense. So just get out of here.
Yes, get out of here, you disingenuous fool. Who let that guy in? Literally not even 48 hours after the shooting. And this guy cannot keep it in his pants and just enjoy the moment where Donald Trump walks into the RNC to applause and to emotion after nearly having his head blown off a few days earlier on TV.
Please welcome the next president of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Just my children and my wife. The man who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today.
But the next clip, guys, is probably my favorite because it's just such a perfect illustration of the desperation of the mainstream media to try and take this moment away from Donald Trump and to try and create a narrative where he looks like less of a hero. But as usual, they are shooting themselves straight in the foot.
Night in the Band-Aid. That's fine. Where I am at this point is it's been 3 days going on 4 since this horrific event occurred. A person lost their life, 2 have been severely injured, and yet we've not received a medical report from the hospital, nor have we received a medical report from the campaign or from the Trump organization about the extent of the damage to his ear. If he was shot by a high-caliber bullet, there should probably be very little ear there. And so we'd like to know that. Is there cosmetic surgery involved? What is the prognosis for recovery? Were there stitches? What is the extent and nature of the damage to his ear? Was it caused by a bullet, as opposed to, as some reports from those on the scene, other reporters, saying that it was actually shards of glass from the teleprompter itself, not the bullet. So there are a lot of questions around that ear, and yet there's been no response to that. Instead, just showing the image of the man coming into the hall with the wounded ear.
Let me jump in
that's
on
the
that.
Politics.
Let me jump in on that, and then we'll continue. We're looking at that photo. Michael Steele is correct. While there is a certain certain amount of time that could be understandable for any medical scenario. The calls around the current president's medical condition, the questions around his capacity, right, are also the same questions you have in a medical event like this. Certainly the public would want to know as much as possible about both incidents, and the Trump campaign has not been the most transparent. So I think getting medical records and briefing on that at some point would be appropriate. That's what journalists often ask for.
So just a great point here by Mr. MSNBC. I mean, let's belabor the point here. Less than 48 hours ago, Donald Trump had a bullet whiz by his face and clip his ear. He was a small change of breeze away, or a slight tilt of the head away from being murdered. Yet he is there at the convention, not making a big song and dance about it, walking with his head held high, not looking angry, not complaining, looking stoic. And we talked about parasite brain before, guys. Mainstream media people suffer from a very similar phenomenon. And this is just on perfect display. Having seen what's just gone down, a historical event of infinite magnitude and consequence, his thought is to sit there and wonder whether or not Trump really needs the ear patch. I mean, we haven't seen the doctor's report. I mean, perhaps the bullet didn't quite hit his head and it was just the glass, and all of that blood that was streaming down Donald Trump's face might have just been from a little cut and maybe it healed after the 24 hours. I mean, just absolutely crazy. They're actually trying to frame it as if Donald Trump is just wearing that ear patch for sympathy. You literally could not write this stuff. And now onto the last bit, where YouTuber James Klug goes out onto the streets of America and asks people what they think about the Trump shooting. And some of the reactions are honestly just shocking.
What was your thoughts about the assassination attempt?
They missed.
They missed.
They missed.
He
should have died. He's not good for this country, and he never will be.
Wow.
Ever. He's the worst person that could be ever in politics.
It's a false flag.
False flag.
Yeah, false flag.
Somebody died and 2 people injured. What do you think about that?
False flag.
False flag.
I thought it was magnificently staged. It was professionally done. It almost looked real.
Wait. Staged by who?
Oh, by Mr. Trump, of course.
I think this whole thing is staged.
You think it was staged?
Yeah.
So you're disappointed that the shooter missed Donald Trump?
100%. 100%. No, well, nothing. He should have died. She doesn't like him as much as I do, but she's a little more sympathetic to people dying.
Do you think that the shooter was justified?
He did what he wanted to do.
Do you think it was justified? Like, do you think
In his eyes, I'm sure it was. But you know what? Since he missed, I can guarantee you there's going to be 100 people that are going to try to not miss.
Would you support that?
Yeah, 100%. He doesn't need to live. He doesn't need to be a president.
You just thought it was fake?
Of course.
One person died in the crowd, 2 critically injured. What happened there?
Small price. It wouldn't matter to Trump. Do you think he cares if people die for him to be elected? That doesn't mean anything to Trump.
Now, staged from whose side? Do you think Donald Trump staged it for attention?
Could be, or it could be the other side trying to make a scene or something. But I don't. The fact that he only got his ear and he would stood up and said America. I don't. Come on.
Right.
It doesn't feel normal.
What is our evidence for suggesting that it was a fake assassination
I
attempt?
think that he walked away alive with perhaps a scratch on his ear.
Yeah, it grazed his ear.
Yeah. Of course, behind the scenes, that was all fabricated. Some noise, they put a little scratch on his ear, threw a little blood on his face.
Now, so you think that they planned from 130 yards away to shoot off the corner of his ear?
And they never shot off the corner of his ear. That was all done by the people hanging around him. Nobody ever shot off his ear.
Okay. So you just see it grazing his ear as maybe not real. What about the people that died what about the father that died in the stand, as well as the others that were critically injured?
I don't know. I can't tell, but to me it just looks like it was planned, and bless that guy's soul for dying for this cause. I'm so sorry for that person's family.
So you think, if we're thinking that that's a big thing to think, is that Donald Trump's administration faked an assassination, got people killed to try to do this. What would you say our reasoning is for saying that, or we have no reasoning? Just the feeling?
Just the feeling.
Imagine saying some of the things that they've just said out in the open like that with no shame. Even before the shooting, if it was just sort of unimaginable rhetoric, it would still be completely messed up and unacceptable. But after it, you would have to have literally no shame. But when you think about it, it highlights a much bigger problem, which is that it's not only accepted, it's cheered on to hate Donald Trump and not just hate him, but to demonize him and to call him anything you want and to wish any sort of harm and suffering upon him. And you can guarantee that he is one of the only world leaders on the entire planet where people could openly call for his death out on the streets without a ski mask and not go missing a short time later. These people would want to thank their lucky stars that they live in a free country, because in the vast majority of places in the world, you would not get away with that. You would end up swimming with the fishies.
Okay, you know what? Let's just agree to disagree, my friend. Okay.
What? Why? No!
So anyways, guys, that's it for me. Make sure to check out the Reality Based store. All the links are going to be right below here. Looking forward to seeing it. Tag me on Instagram and Twitter, JakeRattleSNK, if you guys do make any purchases. I'll repost you guys and use the code BASED10 at checkout. I really do appreciate the support. This is going to be a project that's going to have lots of cool things to come. Can't wait to share it all with you. And if you'd like my links, they're going to be right below. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, right here. And if you'd like to watch another one, right here. Till next time, I'm Jake. This is Rattlesnake TV, keeping you armed and dangerous.